ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise, and welcome back to From the Depths. More specifically, a bomber quick guide. Because I was wondering today what on earth I should record, and then somebody, sorry I don't remember your name, a clever, handsome person asked for a bomber tutorial, and I thought, oh crap, I haven't done that yet. I should totally do that. And so here we are. We're just going to build a quick little bomber, and just for consistency, what we're going to start with is this little template jet plane thingy in the new blueprints menu. So if you want to follow along with this, you can start with exactly the same frame. So this bomber is not going to be amazing, it's just going to be decent enough to fly over and get you started, maybe blow up a marauder. So first things first, we have the AI, mainframe, and we're going to have a target prioritization thing right here. And the first thing we want is that we want to target block count, and we want to put the value per speed low, because bombers, you ideally want them to go for slow, big targets, so that's what we're going to start with. And since we're in here anyway, we're just going to put a local weapon controller right there. And we're going to put a missile controller right there. I'm not paying too much attention to the durability of this thing, because generally speaking, you should only be using bombers against stuff that doesn't really have that good anti-air. That's how they're material efficient. And also, they should be fast enough not to get hit, and we're going to make that happen in a hot second. So let's just think this through ahead of time. Let's do this, and let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do something like that. I'm going to put a chair right here, and then I'm going to stick myself in it. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do, I guess not that. Dang it. Alright. How am I going to do this? I'm not going to worry about that, is what I'm going to do. Right, so probably one of the more important things about your bomber is what bombs is it dropping. So in this particular case, we're going to go for smart bombs, because they generally work a lot better than dumb bombs. Surprise, surprise. There's two main kinds of bomb when it comes to missile. We're not covering cram bombers this time, because that's an entirely different kettle of fish. But there's two things you can do, and I'm going to use a clever method here. I'm going to use rail launchers, just so we get a little bit of extra length on our missile. We can now be two sections instead of just one. So there's two things you can do here. So it's not connected. Great. Why is it not connected? Alright, that's because that's the launcher. Derp. There we go. Okay, so main types of bomb. First is the magnet bomb, and it's very simple. You can just do something like this, and you can set the ballast tank how you like, so it floats or it sinks. And you set the magnet to the distance you want, and then you just drop it when you're over the enemy, and it seeks out the enemy and blows up. The good news is that this is kind of material efficient, in the sense that most of it is warhead, and it can't be fooled by flares, and it can hit things underwater quite reliably. You can actually, these are basically improvised depth charges, and you can hit submarines with them. The bad news is that magnets do not work with detect friend or foe, so you can blow up your own ships. In fact, I've even had bombers blow up their fellow bombers with these things before, so I recommend using the smart bomb instead, which in this case is going to be something like this. So let's go there, let's go there, and we can set the free internal space used for HE just to give it a little bit more punch. So this is actually all you need. It's got active radar seeker, infrared, generally not worth it, because the angle, basically the area in front that the sensor can actually see is quite low. Radar seekers can basically see things behind them, so they can lock onto targets much more easily. They go for big things automatically, which is what we want in a bomber, and they're just generally more reliable. APN guidance, so it can lead the target a little bit. Explosive, because explosive, and fins, so it can actually steer. So we're just going to have a bunch of these, and I'm using medium-sized missiles just because they do have more punch. So let's just go there, and we do need an ammo compartment, and I strongly suggest putting that at the back of whatever vehicle you have here. And we're not going to worry too much about... let's see here. I want to preemptively think about where I'm putting stuff. And this is... oh, lightweight alloy blocks. Problem with using prefabs. Let's do that. And what have we got here? We've got that and that. So this is very much something that will explode readily if we're not careful. And now we're going to put in something to make this thing fly. So, in case you're wondering, when in doubt, use custom jets, because they're actually really simple, really wonderful, and really, like, once you start using them, it's really hard to stop. And I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to do that. And we're going to do this. Also, ducts. Ducts are fantastic. Once you start using ducts, again, very hard to stop. And we're just going to have a giant-ass custom jet running down the entire length of this aircraft. So, custom jets, very simple. You stick an intake there. You stick an exhaust where you want an exhaust. There. Using the small ones because, well, we don't have room for the big ones, do we? And incidentally, doing this kind of thing, sticking ammo right next to more vital components, not generally a good idea unless you're very confident that your jet can evade being shot at. So I'm going to stick the... no, I'm going to stick the controller here. And then I'm going to stick compressors here. And then a whole bunch of combustors. And I'm not going to bother with the add-ons because... that's too hard for me. What are you talking about? So now we have that, and we already have, thanks to the prefab, we have pitch only, and we have more pitch over here, and we have yaw up the top, which is very, very nice. So now we need fuel for our custom jet, and so we're going to go here, and we're going to do that, and we have fuel. And now one last thing we need is a way to get this out of the water. I just realized these things are upside down. This will not do. Please don't crash from the depths. It does this sometimes. It freaks out. It has a panic attack. So, got it all matching launch pads. This is why it's actually a good idea to put the ammo in first, so you can tell which way round your missiles are. So, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Staggered fire, let's set that to 0.5. And what else are we missing? We need a way for this thing to get out of the water. But first we're going to set, yeah, we're going to, firstly, we're going to come back to this in a bit. So, where is it? Where is it? Balloon takeoff ACBs. So what you do is you stick a bunch of balloons in the front, and if the vehicle altitude is within a lower limit, so in this case it's between negative infinity to 50 meters, it'll activate the balloon, and if it's above that, it'll disable the balloon. And we'll add the balloons in a little while, but for now, this thing might not need it because the whole thing's made out of alloy. We do want to stick exactly one sensor on it, just because default detection settings, it won't be able to see anything otherwise unless it has some kind of wireless thingy. And let's set this. We don't want this thing to shoot things underwater. We don't want it to shoot anything more than 500 meters away. And we also need to set the azimuth of this kind of thing. So the elevation of your bombs, you want this thing to only drop its bombs on things below it. So I'm going to set that. We're going to set this to 0. Let's see, did that do the trick? Yes, it did. Alright, so that will do for it to do exactly that thing. Now let's go for the behavior, and let's do that quickly. And we're going to do this. We're going to do attack run with flyover. I am airborne, thank you. Control altitude, we can do that. So, attack run altitude. This is stuff you can mess with if you want this thing to be a dive bomber. You don't have to orientate your missiles down. But if you orientate them forwards, you do have to be aware that they will launch forwards. And you want to basically fiddle around until it's launching them straight at the target when it's doing its attack run. So, we're going to set our attack run altitude to 300. Altitude is better. It's not hard to get a bomber that just flies around in space, by the way, and it's kind of broken. So let's go 375, attack run. These default settings work pretty well, by the way. So, I tend to go for airplane 2.0, specifically for this reason. Pitch to reach target altitude, which means that you don't need wings, or wing blocks rather, and it means the thing can maneuver around and bounce up and down and just be generally kind of more evasive. Now let's go here. Let's just make sure that everything is as we want. 375, so 400, 400, 400. Okay, and now, before we sail off there, we need to check if this thing can get itself out of the water. It cannot. It can! We don't even need the balloon takeoff ACBs. But we're gonna install them anyway. So, what do we got here? We got alloy beams. Right, so you can fall down. Right down to the ground, please. And I'm gonna show you just how these things work. 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when we're on a certain altitude, they do that. Let's just check that these things are working as intended. And this is probably a bit much, so I'm going to get rid of them. And we are in space, and that is no good. Do everything we want to. Why are you doing that thing? Freaking aircraft, man. We appear to be going to the correct height. There we go. So, if your plane is being stupid like this, when in doubt, add more pitch control and add it to both ends. So we are going to replace some of our friends here.
Listening. Listening. Listening.
Okay, there we go. We have added sufficient pitch so that this thing is doing what we want it to, and we're going to save it just as a placeholder, and we can show off what it does. So this is why I like this maneuver in particular, because if the thing is pitching up or down too much, you just add more pitch control and the thing can get to the right altitude, which is very, very nice. So now let's give this thing a spin, because when you're building, always be testing. Very important. Alright, so now we're there, and it should drop the bombs where we want it to, like so. So in fact, we can drop those bombs a little bit quicker. So we have made a successful little bomber here. So So let's drop those bombs a little bit better. And of course you can mess around with the AI, with the exact pacing of whatever the hell it's doing. But let's drop that. Let's have them drop bombs twice as fast. And the great thing about smart bombs is that, well, they're smart. Let's check the reload on these bombs. How quickly does it reload? 14 seconds, so let's set this to, well, that does fine. Let's set this to that. Let's do a little bit of an experimentation. So we're gonna fly away nice and fast, and these things should all be reloaded by the time we're over the Marauder again. Lo and behold. Interesting. You failed to lock on completely. Oh, that's because the Marauder's dead. Right, we can actually do something like this. I'm sure that'll be fine. There we go. And where's our friend the Marauder again? So, this is a very basic thing. There's a lot of other things to add, but in particular, countermeasures. You can stick, well, this is from the depths. You can stick all kinds of groovy things on your bomber to make it more your speed, so to speak. So she drops her bombs, she flies away. That little altitude gain there blows up her Marauder and does very nicely. And then she comes back around for another go, dropping bombs. Beautiful, beautiful. And like I said, like, there's more kinds of bomber than you can shake a stick at in From the Depths, so we're just gonna finish off our little bomber by tidying up the wings and adding some camo. Let's go here and let's just add this. Oh, that's why you did that. You silly Billy. Blinking silly Billy. Why would you do this thing? Okay, camo. We gotta do Arctic because that's compulsory. So now we are invisible in the cold. Ta-da! And we've got to put dark glasses on our glass. There we go. Or maybe this will look better. It does look better. So there you have it. We have a bomber. We need to bomb a bigger thing. Bomb multiple Marauders, please. Ta-da! So there you have it. In less than 20 minutes, you too can make a bomber much like this. And remember, you should put munition warners and flares and all that kind of stuff on it if you want it to be a little bit more survivable. I have other tutorials for that. You can't jam everything into one video. But that's the basics of how to get just a simple bomber up and running, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So, I hope this was helpful, and if it was not helpful, I hope it was entertaining. And if it wasn't either of those things, well, I hope you have a good day anyway. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell.